Lamentablemente el gobierno se quiere apropiar de todas estas tierras para hacer un basural y la verdad que es una lástima porque es lo único que queda de vegetación en esta zona.
¿Viste eso?
On the 16th of September 1994, there was a UFO sighting outside Ruwa, Zimbabwe. 62 pupils at the Ariel School aged between 6 and 12 years old said that they saw one or more silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near their school. The sighting at Ariel occurred at 10 a.m. when the pupils were outside on mid-morning break. The adult faculty at the school were inside having a meeting at this time. The entire incident was claimed to have lasted about 15 minutes. When the children returned to class, they told the teachers what they had seen but were dismissed. Some of the children claimed that one or more creatures dressed all in black then approached and telepathically communicated to them a message with an environmental theme, frightening them and causing them to cry. When they returned home, they told their parents. Many of those parents came to the school the next day to discuss what had happened with the faculty.
About 6 this time.
Can you describe what he looked like in case it was you?
Well, I couldn't see his nose, but his nose was quite small, and his mouth was quite small, and his eyes were shaped like
It's swimming around down there. So I went down to see what was happening. And I actually saw this cloud in the trees. And it was like in a Milky Way pattern on it, like silver and green and that sort of colors. And then there was this little boy crying. So I went up to him to see what was wrong with him. And he said he was quite afraid of it. And then that actually made me quite afraid of it, because when somebody's afraid, I get afraid. And then I saw this person, and his eyes were like in a slant, like so, and his mouth was just like a line, like this. And then at the time, the teachers were in a staff meeting, so nobody actually went up to go and call the teachers because I think they were too afraid and everything. So when the bell rang, because somebody eventually went up, one of the prefects went and said to one of our teachers, Mr. Vernon, please could we can you ring the bell, because there's quite a bit of a performance down there with all the kids running around. And then somebody from BBC came to us, and he went for a walk down there with us with a Geiger count. And actually on that piece of metal over there, we could stand up on it, and we could actually see a few burn marks. So he asked us when we were walking down there with him, he said, please could you come down with us to go and have a look at the things. So when we walked about, there's about 6 holes, and if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there were burn marks actually on the ground. And then the heels there on the rock, the day that it happened, there was something glittering, like quite strongly. And then when we came back to school the next day, it was just gone. And also, when we went down with them, the burn marks were just gone. That's like a few minutes later.
How long did you observe this whole happening?
I think it was about 5.5 minutes when we went down there, because it was actually quite scary.
Well, I was at the tech shop over there, and then I saw people crowding up at near the site. So I went there and I looked, and I saw this ship, and it had this light like a pattern, yellow, purple, and green. It would keep on going around, and then there was something running across, and somehow the ship that moved. Then when I looked more down, when I looked on like straight vision with the glass, some like alien thing. He had big eyes, like what I was saying. Huh?
Do you agree with the other two that the eyes were slanting, the mouth was rather thin, the nose small, and it was about how tall would you assume?
Maybe about 3.5 feet.
But you agree with the other description?
Yeah.
Okay.
suddenly I saw this glittering thing what my friend Kaylee saw, and it had orangey red like glittering thing. It kept on moving at the side, and um and I saw like a black thing sitting on top of it. I don't know if it was a branch or the thing, the part of the alien where it was sitting on, but I don't know. I looked and I saw this silverish type thing in the bushes, and I was really excited.
Guy has just one last mention of something very interesting here. Go.
And Mrs. Stark, we used to go down there with our teacher, Misty Vernon, just for a walk for our content study. We've got a dam that's actually empty at the moment, and we go down there to get some clay and pieces of glass. It's actually quite interesting because there's usually ants that crawl on us and bite us. And when we went down there with the BBC, we were walking around and we came back and there were quite a few antholes and antholes on the floor. There was not a single ant, and there were a few dead ones on the floor.
My name is Candace.
Candace, please tell us what happened that very exciting day.
Me and my friend Claire, Haley, and Camilla, we were just walking, and then we saw this maroon color just waving about, and it was disappearing and disappearing, and we started to follow it. And then we stood over there on one of the logs, and we saw like this silver thing, and we decided that we should go down there and see, but Claire said we're not allowed there. So I said, it doesn't matter, let's just go and see. And we got closer and closer, and we saw this silver thing just shining it, and we thought that it was just a house with glass reflecting in the sun and shining. Then we thought, no, it can't be that because there's no houses up there on the rocks. And then we waited for a few minutes and we just stared at it, and we heard this flute, sort of like a flute noise, and then we got closer and closer, and then I saw this black figure running in slow motion, and then I didn't want to see it, so I looked away, and I looked again and it wasn't there anymore. This figure, like Candace said, running in slow motion, and one poked its head up and looked at me out of the grass, and me and Candace were really scared. We nearly screamed. We were so scared, and we were running back and forth because we were excited and scared at the same time.
Anna Ribeiro. Anna, please tell us your experiences.
You see, and when the bell rang, me, Gary, and Portia were supposed to practice for assembly that day. So we were called out by Stefan, that's one of our friends, and he called us and he said he saw something. So we went. I didn't actually believe that he actually saw something because he was saying it was an alien. And so I went out, and then when I was looking at it, I saw it's like a silver light, and like that kind of spaceship you showed me just coming out just for an instant, and then it just disappeared just like that. And so I first thought it was my imagination because everybody was talking about it, but then when I thought about it really, I thought no, it couldn't be.
Well, the night before I saw the cigar-shaped spacecraft, but I've got it in my picture, but it wasn't exactly like a cigar shape. I thought it was a circle. Then the day after that, I saw it in the air again with my friends, Farai and Barry.
What did you see that morning here at the school?
Well, these other children were running. I asked them what it was, and they said it was a UFO. Then I ran with them to the logs over there. Then I saw one person sitting on top of the ship and guarding it, and another one running up and down like he was confused. And he was actually looking at us. But some people said there's another property over there right at the back. it's Mrs. Nurse's property. Some people say that it was Mrs.